In the plains of Moab, just across the Jordan River, as Israel stood on the threshold of the Promised Land, Moses, the servant of God, lifted his voice one final time. He was old now, his days drawing to a close, but his words carried the weight of memory, justice, and divine truth. Moses began by recounting the journey, a testimony of God's enduring guidance. He reminded the people how at Mount Horeb the Lord had commanded them, "You have stayed long enough at this mountain. Go forth." The Lord had set before them a vast land, the land sworn to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and called them to possess it. To prepare for the task, Moses, at God's command, appointed wise and discerning men as leaders, men to judge fairly and uphold justice. But as they reached the edge of the Promised Land at Kadesh-barnea, fear overtook faith. They murmured against the Lord, saying, "Because the Lord hates us, He has brought us out of Egypt to be destroyed by the Amorites." Moses reminded them how their unbelief cost them dearly. Because of their rebellion, God swore that none of that generation, not even Moses, would enter the Promised Land, except for Caleb, who followed the Lord wholeheartedly, and Joshua, who would lead the next generation. Yet even in judgment, God showed mercy, leading them safely through the wilderness for many years. Moses continued, recalling the long years of wandering. God guided them around the lands of Esau and Moab, commanding them not to provoke those nations, for their inheritance had already been given. In this, God taught Israel a powerful lesson. He is not only the God of Israel, but the righteous Lord of all nations, faithful to His promises even to those outside the covenant. They were told to pay for food and water, to act justly, and to honor boundaries. When the time was right, the Lord said, "Now rise, and pass over the brook Zered." It had been 38 years since they left Kadesh, and that generation of unbelievers had passed away. Then God led them to confront King Sihon of Heshbon. At first, Israel asked for peaceful passage, but Sihon refused, his heart hardened by God's divine will so that justice might be served. Israel struck with the power of the Lord and took possession of the land, leaving none who opposed them. As Moses concluded his retelling, the Israelites stood poised to enter the land promised to their forefathers. With renewed faith and understanding, they prepared to face the challenges ahead. Under Joshua's leadership, a new chapter in Israel's history was about to unfold. The journey of 40 years was ending, but the greatest adventure was just beginning. Moses then recounted the battle against Og, king of Bashan, a remnant of the Rephaim, giants of old. His iron bed was 9 cubits long, a symbol of pride and power, yet even this mighty king fell before the Lord. The Israelites captured 60 fortified cities in the region of Bashan, a staggering display of divine strength. This land east of the Jordan was given to the tribes of Reuben, Gad, and the half-tribe of Manasseh, but only on the condition that their warriors would cross the Jordan and help their brothers conquer Canaan. Then Moses turned to Joshua and said, "Your eyes have seen all that the Lord your God has done to these 2 kings. So will the Lord do to all the kingdoms into which you are going. You shall not fear them, for it is the Lord your God who fights for you." These first chapters of Deuteronomy are more than history. They are sacred memory. They remind us that God is faithful, even when we are not, that His justice is precise, but His mercy endures, that every victory, every loss, and every step in the wilderness is under His divine providence. As Catholics, we see in Israel's journey a reflection of our own pilgrimage, through deserts of sin, past giants of fear, and toward the true promised land, heaven. But to inherit it, we must walk in faith, trust God's timing, and remember His word. That promise is still true, yesterday, today, and forever.